Hi guys, and welcome back to another ITH podcast where we are still at the Autosport show here in Birmingham. And Tim, I think we've lucked out on location for this one.
We have. We were searching.
We're on top of a motorhome, basically.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this audio only, we are on top of the motorhome. In the middle of the whole of the show, there's simulators, there's very expensive cars behind us.
It's awesome.
It is amazing.
This is the most baller we've ever been, I think.
I would say so.
And so we are here on top of the motorhome that is done by Excite, an energy drink by Focus Energy and Nootropics. There you go.
That is
I mean, it's rubbish. I'm rubbish, aren't I?
You're not very good at
But
the subtle thank you to the guys for letting us be up here, but they've given us a couple of their cans of their energy drink.
I'll tell you what,
it's zero sugar.
I'll tell you what, it's
and like
really tasty.
Five
I'm not
calories
just
a
saying
can.
this, it's really tasty.
It's very, very nice.
I don't like the one that's a different flavour by a different brand because it reminds me of doing vodka Red Bull when I was younger.
Right, okay.
And horrible things happened.
Anyway, thank you to these guys for letting us be on top of their
Yes.
motorhome. But that is not why we are here. We are
No.
here because we want to bring you the guy behind Shmee150.
Not just like the guy standing behind him. We didn't just grab somebody from the arena.
Although I have to say, Mark, you are stood behind Shmee quite a lot of the time, I guess. But let me introduce you, if you're listening to this and you're watching this. This is Mark. Mark basically helps Tim run the Shmee empire, we could call it.
Yes.
There we go. It's as simple as that.
I'm business manager, as they call it.
So is that your official title?
Yeah.
Tim's business manager?
Yeah, and shop manager as well, so I run the shop as well.
Okay, fine. So shop and logistical nightmares, I'm sure, all that kind of thing.
It's
is down to you.
mostly being in charge of his agenda and doing all the initial planning.
I thought you said his gender.
No,
I was like,
agenda.
well, okay, he's Tim or maybe Tamara at the weekend.
That's the subject of a totally different podcast.
Yes, I'm sure it is. So, Mark, how did you first get to meet Tim? Have you been mates for years and years, or?
I've been a journalist since 2003.
So your background's journalism?
Yeah. My background is journalism. So I'd done first it was telecom, consumer electronics, mostly in the Netherlands because I'm Dutch. And then I started to do some stuff in the automotive scene. And then, there was all of a sudden this guy standing with a camera in the middle of Monaco filming me driving around. And he filmed me, made a video. Just search MTM RS6 and you will find the video on Tim's channel. And that's about, I think, 2011, doing top marks.
So you didn't know him at the time?
No.
He was just filming a car.
Yeah, he was just the car spotter,
right.
From London, went to Monaco to film and do exactly the same thing. So, and I was there as a journalist, knew MTM, drove around the cars, wrote a story about it, and just met him. And then after a while, we got a bit of talking about certain things and see if we could do something together. He did some videos. We did, I think, the 2012 Geneva Motor Show. He did all the videos for our blog. At that time, and then in 2013 I left the blog, left the website, and we kept talking, and I saw what he was doing, and what he was doing was the future, so to speak. And the only thing was Tim was doing everything, and that's really how you can see. And if you talk about Tim, he's just immense controlling what he wants to do and how he wants to do it, and he really precisely wants to do it. And I said, you cannot do it all. So give me what's coming into your mailbox. Let me deal with that, open doors for you. And then I just introduced him to all the manufacturers, to brands, brought them to new shows and all this kinds of stuff. And I've been doing since. So what I just do is just make sure that if he says, I would like to drive that car, and then I just pick up the phone, call the manufacturer and see if there's a possibility to drive a car. And luckily at that time, MTM was one of the companies that allowed us to do it. But also Lamborghini. The famous video of him showing how the roof on an Aventador Roadster works. That was one of the videos that we did, one of the first ones that were really a success. And then other manufacturers started noticing him and saying, what is this? He's doing a video, it gets 200, 300,000 views. We maybe should also ask him to come along and do. And it became more and more and more and more. And now it is, I think we're working with all the manufacturers right now.
So do you work with Tim full time? This is your full time
No,
gig?
not even.
Oh, right.
But it feels like full time.
I bet.
No, but it's the majority of the time. Next to that, I'm a marketing consultant for Cars and Coffee International
cool.
and a few manufacturers and brands that ask me to help them on subjects like social media, marketing, and all this kinds of stuff. And that's what I do next to it. I work for a tuning company in the Netherlands who asked me for the same thing. And I also run some e-commerce platforms, some websites and web shops. So yeah, that's what I'm mostly
So
doing.
you're quite busy then.
yeah, it's just it's like 80 hours a week.
Nice.
Okay.
It's normal, I'm used to it. And for me, it's just the drive is just that I like it. If I don't like it, I don't do it anymore. Do something else.
Have you always liked cars? Like, so where are you? I'm guessing you're from Holland originally.
Yeah, I'm totally Dutch.
And I'm totally Dutch. And has cars always been something that you've been interested in?
And it's an interesting thing because when I was roughly, I had 12, 13, 14, 15, about that, I was reading all the magazines that everyone was reading in the Netherlands, the auto car of the Netherlands I was reading. But I wasn't really like a massive car nut. I loved cars, but I was not like massively into cars. And then I think after like 17, 18, I went totally into mobile phones and all this kinds of tech. Similarly to Tim. Tim is a massive techie. And I wasn't really doing anything with cars. And then I think I bought my first car when I was 26. So, no, not really. And then when I started doing automotive as a journalist, then, driving 40, 50 cars a year. And then all of a sudden it became massive. So, now I'm an immense BMW nerd, so to speak, and minis. But,
nice.
Now it's all about cars. Although I have to say, after working about now, it's I think 8 years in this world, it gets a bit blasé. If you've seen like 40 Rolls Royces in one day in Dubai, you're like, another one. It's a bit.
It becomes the norm, I guess.
It becomes the norm.
Yeah.
So for me to see a really special car, I'm thinking, looking at all the cars that are coming in the future, I'm mostly looking backwards. Because now it's the time that you're looking at classics and you're like, wow, that car they released like 20 years ago. I never knew that it existed. Oh wow, it's a really cool car. And I'm not looking not as much as cars that are coming in the future because it's like, okay, this is an interesting car. It's in a development of a car that already exists and there will be a new model of it. But I'm now looking back at cars that are coming from and that have been released in the past, and I'm like, hey, that's interesting. Never knew about that. So maybe it's because the way we're going into electric cars and exhaust not sounding nice anymore and cars not being that engaging anymore. You're searching for cars that are really, really interesting. But I wasn't a massive car nut, I must say.
Okay.
More.
You've kind of grown into it a bit, I suppose.
Yeah, a bit of a late starter, but you've certainly blossomed.
yeah, definitely.
Nicely
And I drove
put.
a lot of interesting, nice things. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so run us through what is a typical week for you. I mean, is it just completely hectic the whole time, but you have to keep control of everything? I mean, because you have to control somebody who is arguably one of the hardest working guys in the industry.
Yeah.
And this is something that it comes across. There was some stuff on social media recently where a lot of the established journalists, I say the old school journos,
Magazine.
were
journalists.
they've been really being very disparaging against people and in cases naming Tim, naming Shmee in a few tweets and things, saying, talking about how they don't really do a proper job and they're not really objective, and it irritated me because I know how hard Tim works, and I know how hard all the other guys work, and I know how hard we work.
Well, I think his car collection shows how hard he works.
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
The big thing is dual-sided, I believe. It's one on the other end. It's the fact that influencership, as we call it, or being an influencer, either your Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever you do, is a thing which is next to a journalist and what does a newspaper or TV or anything. They have to understand that we're media all, but influencers are not journalists. We're not an influencer will never ever give a really in-depth opinion about a specific car or a specific service or anything like that. They show the experience of being there. In the end, they're the presenter in some way to show how the world of being an influencer and what it feels like being in this world. Because for a lot of people, it's aspirational. And they want to be in it and they can't not be in it, so they want to be Tim. On the other end, we have the owner that has similar supercars or a car in his garage who learns from Tim what a certain service or a specific thing is. So if we do paint protection film and Topaz, it's on one end, it's Tim bringing the car to Topaz to show what it means to bring a car there. And an aspirational person that might maybe not ever have the ability to buy a car like that, possibly, but he can put his feet in Tim's shoes and say, I'm there as well because Tim is there.
Yeah,
And on the other
I
end,
love that.
Yeah, and the other end is the owner that says, I want to have that service. And those two people we tend to want to reach. And what I would say to all the journalists is say, if you ever have a feeling you don't understand what's going on, drop me a call and I'll explain. Because the moment I start explaining it, they are like, that's what you want to achieve. We don't want to sit on the seat of the journalist, because I don't do much of the journalism work anymore, but I was in the seat of the journalist. But I don't want any influencer to sit there because I don't want to take the seat of the journalist. Just don't want to, because we're different professions.
Those guys have got their career, and influencers have a different style of things.
Yeah, it's like a chef in a kitchen. One does the main course and one does the dessert. It's like maybe we do the main course and maybe somebody else does the dessert, or vice versa.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, it's different. We do something different and it's additional, and it's getting even more now with owners becoming influencers themselves, and that will be added soon. And then what, are we going to have the journalists complaining about that again?
Probably. There'll always be someone on the internet, Mark, as you know, that will try and put somebody down. It's quite interesting what Tim was saying, though. I suppose the average week of you and Tim, is there ever an average week? Is every week different? Or do you have a bit of a structure at all?
Of course, we have our aim of releasing 4 to 5 videos a week right now. That was 7. We stopped doing that. So it's now 5 videos. But it's what we constantly are doing is what our aim is making sure that our focus is YouTube. YouTube is always number one, and we're making sure that every content piece we push out gets the right angle, the right thumbnail. That we engage with the audience and make sure that we get the message across. And we're tuning the channel and looking at the analytics like 1.5 hours a day, just being aware of how YouTube works, how social media works, and make sure and that's the key. And the only thing I need to do is find deals and find relationships, find content opportunities that fit into that.
So with that in mind, obviously I met you through BOTB, and guys, if you haven't checked it out, BOTB.com, they're the guys that give away a dream car every single week. Tim came to one of the surprises we did over Christmas, where a guy won an amazing ABD RS3, which was just incredible, and he's going to be collecting that car pretty soon, actually. So go and check it out, BOTB.com. Cool. And if you haven't signed up, I would suggest going to do it. You never know; it might be my mug coming to your doorstep one day with a brand new car that you've just won. And we met Tim through BOTB, and was that a deal that you'd managed to get? Okay, so you did the work.
Yeah, I'll do all the pre-work. He did the. We did the initial in the headlights section a week before that. Yep. So giving the opportunity of people to win the car. That is the thing that I then arranged with your team. Tim coming to the event, I will make sure that everybody knows how late he arrives, that he's there, and he knows from me what he needs to do. And often that changes last minute. So I'm mostly telling this an hour before, because it could be that we change something. And also, I can tell it 2 weeks before, I can tell it 2 days before. Just passes by, because he's busy with something else at that moment. So, and I always tell everyone, it's like we live in seconds and minutes. Anything can happen any moment, and it can change any moment. And with all the brands I'm talking to, they think in weeks and months. Right. So what we're doing is we're doing this constant managing of expectations and the schedule and what is happening last minute. And that works the best, because even though last minute things can change, and it can make the video a much better video than it did we initially thought.
Can it also very much go the other way? Have you ever had any nightmares? Surely, if you could tell us one story where things have maybe changed and you've had to deal with it, and it's kind of on your shoulders that you've got to try and fix it.
I have to think here.
Think about what you can say.
Yeah, that's also a thing, yeah. I don't want to give away things that we might not want to share. Because there's always things happening in the background which you never anticipated in advance. Certain brand deals you're doing, and then all of a sudden the brand decides that the messaging should be done differently last minute, and then you're on a phone call. I remember, which was an interesting one, we did a Lamborghini video 2 months ago, I think, with a partner, with a gaming partner. And they had a whole setup and everything done. And I said, Tim, you're going to do it like this and this. And he came on site. And I was standing with my new car, doing stuff. He calls me and said, Mark, I want to do it completely different, because the setup on site is completely different. And I believe if we do it differently, it will be a much bigger success. And I was like, okay, what do you see in front of you, and how do we set this up? So we discussed it on site, and 5 minutes later, he started filming his video. And the video now has almost, I think, 2 million views.
Wow.
And the thing is that that video because often the brands tell us we're going to do the day like this. It's like, okay, fine. And then we arrive on the day, and the day is then changed, and maybe for the better for them. But we look at it as like, it's not really what we expected, and it's not maybe what we wanted. And then on site we change it completely, and then still it's really successful, but we just change it on site, and that happens a lot,
all the time,
all the time. And the change and the flexibility required to make things work, that's what we need between.
Have you ever rejected brands and just said, look, it just doesn't fit in with what Tim does?
Many. You know, we are, with regards to our shout outs, we want to make it honest and natural. Tim is honest and natural. What he says, he means, and he believes in it. So, and he would not do anything with a brand he doesn't believe in, or he doesn't, or believe. He looks at the brand and says, guys, listen, this cannot be real. This cannot be real. So he only does things. You know, the thing is with BOTB, he would buy a ticket himself because he believes that BOTB is genuine, honest, to give away a car every week, and that is what he believes in.
Well, that's why BOTB love working with someone like Tim, because the amount of people, as you know, that go, this is way too good to be true. Yeah. Like, they give away a car every week. People just don't think it's genuine.
No,
whereas it's so good to have someone like Tim come along to a surprise where we're surprising someone, and then him kind of doing the social stuff around it to show people it does happen. It does happen to normal people. You know, this guy didn't spend 50 quid on tickets. He spent just a few quid, and now he's won a brand new.
Exactly. I mean, in a way, it lends credibility to both sides of the equation.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
Absolutely.
For us, we have met many brands in which I thought, nah.
Is there anything you'd really like to do with Tim? Is there anything that you've sat down and said to him over the last few years? Tim, look, we need to do this. I want to do this.
Yeah,
and he's just never done it. Oh, what was it?
The Mille Miglia.
Oh, the Mille Miglia.
It's in my opinion the best car event in the world.
That was epic. The videos from
the video we made.
Yeah.
That's what we want to make every day, but YouTube doesn't allow us to make every day. If we could make that every day, we would be a really happy bunny, but we're not. The video, we struggled to get it to the views it has now, and because it deserves so much more, but it will never get much more because that's not what YouTube and the audience requires to necessarily watch. You know, they want a different kind of content piece, which is fine. You know, that video piece belongs on a TV show. It belongs on Vimeo. It belongs on maybe Netflix. You know, it was such an epic experience. It was for us. It was by far my most special experience I've had. And driving it in that car was unique.
Oh, I bet. I watched the videos and I was just jealous from the beginning to the end. But as you said, it was very nice to be able to step into the shoes of someone like yourself or Tim and see what that event is like from a first-person perspective.
It's really hard to convey that event. It's extremely hard to convey because if you are, for instance, there have been other influencers and journalists going on the event but just being there as press. And the problem is that they don't drive the event. So they're not in the car. They don't see the struggles. They don't see it. And the thing now is what we have is we want to do it again. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. And that's an interesting thing because now Mercedes come back to us and said, do you want to do it in the Uhlenhaut Coupé, which is the most expensive car in the world? Which is the car, there's only two of them.
I'd probably
decline. The car is insured for 150 million euros.
Oh, what?
Yeah, the only car that is in their collection more worth is the SLR that Sterling Moss did it in the record time. But that car doesn't run anymore. They don't want to run it on the event anymore.
Okay.
So they did it we did it in a normal 300 SL, which is what is it? 2 million euro, 3 million euro car, depending on which market you're in and mileage and stuff. And then they said, and then the guy, initially they thought like, oh gosh, you're gonna put these young guys in a 300 SL, they're not gonna do well. And then the guy at Mercedes said, no, let them do it. And then I told him, it's like, if you tell me that we are going to do this, I'm going to do this extremely professional. So when we told Mercedes we're doing this extremely professional, we pulled a lot of strings to do it, and I said I want to score in the first 100, and they were like, oh yeah, if you do first 100, okay, let's do it. And then in the end, I think we were 95 or something like that.
Yeah, so you made it.
Which is everyone else that I talked to, and I had some friends which were like 4th or 5th, you know, in the final ranking, and they were 95 for your first time. It's immense. How did you do that? And even everyone at Mercedes, they were like blown away by how well we did, because 95 out of 400 on your first Mille Miglia, it's immense. So for me, that was absolutely a challenge that we saved. And then after the event, we were sitting and like, okay, we done it. What's next? We're like, this is the end game with regards to events. And it's a bit of an end game with regards to cars now as well, with the Senna and the GT. And we're looking like, what's next?
Yeah.
Because for Tim, having these two cars at the same time in the garage, it is many top trumps. What are you gonna do after this? It's like,
that's something as well that I guess you guys have to work out. Ignoring the fact of just this Christmas period, getting these two cars delivered and the logistics around it would have been amazing. But these cars were it was 3 years ago, wasn't it, that the GT process was all started?
Yeah.
There's no that you would never have conceived 3 years ago that the GT and the Senna would have both arrived within a week of each other.
Yeah, it's the GT was planned for next year September.
Yeah, it was planned
September.
Next September.
They'd be staged, wouldn't they? You'd get
the Senna, I could share to the audience, was March, and then came forward, and then we was like, the thing was, the 911 GT3 was there. I love that car. I said, Tim, I will get it from you. I'll buy it in 2019. Don't worry, we'll drive it, and just we order it and spec it in the way we want to and everything. The car was there a month. And then there was an email from Ford in the mailbox saying, your GT is coming in 2018 because of the WLTP and the emission regulations, we need to put it on plates before the end of the year.
Wow.
And we were like, we just bought the GT3, which was meant to cover the period until the GT came.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, damn, what are we going to do with it? We're going to use it a lot. We're going to use it a lot. And then when the GT comes, then it has to go because Tim needed the funds from the GT3 to go into the Ford GT.
I love that that's a problem.
And then we're like, oh my god,
cars.
how am I going to do this? And then McLaren came and say, you now have to move the Senna's coming as well in December. And then we're like, and then Tim was like, my bank account, I have to talk to all these people, insurance and the cars of finance. We'll go into detail that in the coming weeks. And it's like, oh my god, how are we going to deal with this? Because it's insurance, it's PPF, it's
He's got to pay for these two cars.
Video schedules.
It's
everything.
video schedules, and we're like, and we didn't really want it together because it's better for us to have them a bit spread because else, and in the end it was a mayhem because also with the Senna, first going to Manchester and then coming to the factory to be revealed, and then it goes back to Manchester to finish, and then revealed there, and the GT being revealed at Goodwood, which was we had Ford UK in there, Ford Europe in there. I was talking to some other partners bringing other cars, but we wanted to keep it a bit smaller. I think on site we had like 10 people to do all that, and nobody sees this. And they were all there to make sure that Tim, and he'd only drove the car really, really slow on the track, but we needed to do photos with a photographer, video. It's just, and then the car had to go on a truck and go to another location for photos and video, and then it had to go to back to Tim's garage, then to go to PPF.
The cars have a busier schedule than Tim himself.
Yeah, that's for something for 2019. I want to slow down a little bit because I think about 30-40% of his time is dealing with cars, and I would like to have him deal less with cars and maybe see his family more because it's just mental. It's absolutely mental, and it's constantly something. It's always like, I need to do the winter swap on this car, and then I need to swap the wheels back on that week, and I was like, you have to take that to Germany, and
so much to think about.
It's constantly, and it's also thinking about which cars. The GT8 with the Christmas tree was created like a day before, 2 days before we did the Christmas tree, because Tim's dad said we need a Christmas tree at home. Can you cut it for me? So his dad is filming the video while the Christmas tree is on the roof. And everybody's like, why is your dad not in the video? His dad doesn't want to be on the video. So same as with the M2C when his dad bought the car. It's like, all his arrangements are done sometimes a week or day before. Sometimes they're 4 weeks or 4 months before. I'm planning things now which are going to happen. July and August is something really big coming to happen. And especially April is a really important month because the season starts. So we need to move the Senna and the GT around so that they drive the ring, they drive racetracks, all this kinds of stuff.
So
I'm planning this now.
I was going to say, you are planning a good 6 months in advance. Probably
big
even
things,
more, really.
Small things. I don't know what I'm doing in 2 weeks.
Right.
I don't have a clue.
You know what you're doing in 6 months for some things.
Yeah, some things, yeah.
Okay,
but
fine.
the point is like we change things now already. So we yesterday Tim wanted to do something in the morning, but then decided to sleep longer and do it in the afternoon. So looking at that sort of things, we're constantly moving, shifting, changing, altering what we're doing on a minute basis. And some things are really, really like far ahead.
Yeah.
What do you think you'd do if YouTube shut down tomorrow? That's the look of fear if you're watching this.
Now, for me, it doesn't really matter because I like my work as a consultant. So,
Oh, so
what
it's
would
just
Tim?
like, see ya, Tim.
The question is what kind of Tim is going to do, and I believe that for us both, it's both a world of consultancy. I think.
Okay.
Simply because we have so much connections in this world, and there's so much people asking us for help and things we want to do. It's for us an easy way of doing, and maybe starting a business for the two of us, which allows us to help certain brands develop their brands and set it up and that sort of stuff. Because in the end, that's what we're doing. We created Shmee150 from 2013 onwards into the biggest, automotive channel with a single person on it. We're not Top Gear with 5 people. We're, it's one guy doing one thing.
Would you ever like to be in front of the camera?
I'm sitting now in front of a camera, but no. The thing is that, I'm a bit outspoken. I'm a journalist. I have an opinion.
That's why Tim keeps you in the back.
Yeah, because I have an
He's
opinion.
worried.
I have an opinion about things. So I would love to make a channel saying the things I want to say, but I don't think that's. I think I just need to first do my thing, and then additionally I would like to say things. But yeah, I have opinion about certain things simply because I have a journalistic background. So if I have something that I want to sell to the world, I write a blog about it and I tell it to the world. And now currently with the whole emission stuff, I have an opinion about it, and a strong one, and I tell the world what it is. And a lot of people don't see that, and I tell the world, and then oh my god, I never thought about this.
Yeah, I've been reading. Yeah. I enjoy reading your stuff about the emission stuff. Yeah. It's something that irritates me as well. Yeah. But it's
so. Can people? Have you got a blog or
no? I put it on Drive on Shmee150 on the tribe of Shmee150.
Okay.
Yeah, so I put it there. I don't have time to run a blog or anything like that. But sometimes I have my stories. I once drove a 918 and I had to write down what I thought about it. Right. And sometimes I with my BMW heart and my Mini heart that I have, I see things developing and then I have an opinion about it and I want to write about it. But it's mostly general markets. But because I see these things happening when I'm tuning my cars, I write them down. I feel that I want to tell the world what's happening.
And just before we wrap up, you're obviously quite passionate about your cars. Tim's got his huge garage. What do you drive?
I have a BMW M2 Competition, which is a project car. We're going to hopefully show it soon on the channel as well.
Oh, great.
So currently has a full exhaust system on it for my Krabovic. What we're going to do is, and that's interesting, we're going to cut out the roof.
You're going to cut out the roof?
Yeah, we're going to put a carbon fiber roof in it. We're going to suspension. I have a heritage design which I want to put on the car, so I'm working on doing this with a partner in Gilles, Rub Style, who are going to do the wrapping for me. Great guys, and they've done the PPF as well on my car. So I have all these partners everywhere for my cars and my projects. So I work with Venturi for the carbon air intake, and I work all these kind of partners I have to make a project and a car. And I've always done this. All my cars have been project cars, and my Mini is as well, which is a track car now, which is a second generation GP, which is a lightweight without rear seats, without any stuff. And so it has a cage and a roll cage in it, and bucket seats, and a short shifter, and adjustable suspension, and
you can see it brings joy to you. If you're watching this, you see
wonderful.
Mark is proper smiling when he's talking about the
for
Mini.
me, it's like if you anytime have a question about Minis or BMWs, especially M2s or M3s or M4s, and just shoot me a message on Instagram, and I'll be strict and say what I think.
What's your username on Instagram?
That's kind of funny. It's like Shmee150.
Shmee150.
Tim insisted so that I have that. So
he signed a contract.
Yeah, it's in the contract.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah. Mark, thank you so much for giving a bit of an insight into what it's like to, I suppose, manage Tim, look after him, be his kind of PA, organizer.
No, I don't want to be his PA.
Oh, okay, fine. It's quite an incredible...
You're the puppeteer holding the strings.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Quick questions before we leave. Do you have access to Tim's bank account?
No.
Oh, damn. Okay,
rubbish.
so we're going to have to buy lunch. Brilliant. Well, Mark, thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much.
And guys, please do make sure you subscribe to the NA Headlights channel. Make sure you go and check out botb.com. Give away a dream car every single week, and they've got the lifestyle prizes in there as well.
And go and see Excite, the drink.
Yeah, thanks to the guys for letting us come and basically crash their motorhome. We're going to go and look at what's downstairs in this thing now. And we're going to go and take a look at the NEC, because the Autosport Show has a lot to offer.
It has. And in fact, I think Mark's probably now going to go and do something with Tim in the live arena, aren't you?
I have to film the live arena, the live show.
Oh yeah, we
he's
should go. Yeah, we'll go and watch
should.
the live show.
I can take you if you want to.
Amazing.
See it.
That's what we're going to go and do.
Definitely.
Guys,
We're
thank
off.
you so much, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Bye bye.